I watch the sunrise every Saturday morning by the ocean. And every Sunday morning, I would go into the woods for a hike and watch the sunrise, or depending how far I'm in the woods, I won't see the sun, but I always go towards a river. And I've realized that nature has so many lessons. I've been going to that same beach every Saturday once I'm here in the country, and I never see the same thing. I never see the same sunrise. I never see the same way the waves crash. And that says to me that change will come, change will happen all the time, but that doesn't mean it's going to destroy you or it's always a negative thing. There's beauty in change, and that is something that I did not accept before. I want things to be the same all the time to make me feel safe and in control. And going to see the sunrise every week taught me about there's nothing that will ever be the same every week.
Welcome to the Sacred Planet podcast. I am your host, Jocelyn Starfeather. We are living at the end of a massive 26,000 year cycle. This is a cycle that can be defined not astrologically, but astronomically by the movement of the North Star in the sky. Every 26,000 years, we come back to the original North Star. The times that we are living in now are when one of these 26,000 year cycles is ending and a new one is beginning. And so this is why this time when we are alive right now has been foretold in the ancient prophecies of many indigenous and ancient peoples all around the world, from almost every continent. This is why the world feels so chaotic, so uncertain, and so unstable right now, because we are truly shifting from one age, one massive 26,000 year age, into a new one. This is also why we are seeing so many changes in our own lives, so many changes in the world. It's because the systems and structures, the patterns and beliefs that we have been carrying for an extremely long time are collapsing. They are breaking down. And this is terrifying and also very exciting, because those of us who are alive at this time, we get to choose what we will build next. We get to choose who we want to become in this new era. So it's really important to know during these times that these are actually not only ending times. This is not meant to be an apocalypse. This is actually meant to be the closing of a door to the old ways of being and the opening of a door to the new ways, to the radical new world that we are here to build together. We are here at this time, at this momentous time, to choose what will come next. And so let us dream into a world that our children and grandchildren and the next 7 generations will be delighted to inherit from us. And let's begin creating it one by one from within ourselves. That is where all change must begin, is from within every individual, and then it is rippled out to the world in miraculous and beautiful ways. Here in the Sacred Planet podcast, we will be talking about spiritual awakening. We will be talking about the massive changes that are happening in our world, and we'll be talking most importantly about how you can support yourself, how you can feel most healed and healthy and whole and inspired and uplifted and ready to build this new world together, ready to choose who you wish to become next as all of the old falls away and we are left with a blank slate to create anything that we wish, anything that we dream into the future. Welcome to the Sacred Planet podcast. I can't wait to share the incredible speakers and topics that we'll be sharing here on the podcast, and I hope that it will be a tremendous inspiration to you in your own life. I am your host of the podcast. My name is Jocelyn Starfeather. I am the founder of Sacred Planet. Sacred Planet is a global community of people who are awakening to their true power and magic within and co-creating together and uplifting and inspiring one another as we build this radical new world together. I can't wait to share more with you. I'll see you soon in our next podcast episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sacred Planet podcast. I am your host, Jocelyn Starfeather, and I am delighted to be here today with Akosua Dardaine Edwards. Welcome, Akosua. Thank you so much for being a speaker here.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I appreciate being here, and hello to all of your listeners and viewers.
Yes, thank you. It's wonderful to speak with you again. It's been a long time since we talked, so I'm really glad to reconnect.
I always feel a little bit more empowered after speaking to you, so I'm looking forward to this chat.
Likewise, so do I. That's great. I'm glad we both are lifting each other up. So beautiful. Yes. Well, let me share a little bit more about your work. Akosua is the founder of the NINA Young Women's Leadership Program, which provides financial literacy, entrepreneurial skills, and tools to build self-value in young women within the state care system. For the past few years, the NINA program has worked with ladies under state care and those from at-risk communities to support the development of skills so that they can become independent. The program also has a transition program for young ladies who leave the state care at the age of 18 to reintegrate them back into mainstream society. NINA is also in secondary schools throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Akosua has written and published 4 books, with her latest one called Now What? The Flipside, published in March 2021. And if you look below the interview, you will see links to Akosua's website and Instagram and her TED Talk and more. So Akosua, thank you so much for this beautiful work that you're doing in the world and the way that you're working with young people and really changing their lives. Thank you so much. This is incredibly powerful, what you and your organization are doing.
Thank you. It's an honor. It's a privilege, really, to know all of them and to learn from them. And it really uplifts me as well.
Yeah. Yes, that's amazing. I would love to start there, actually. I know we'll get into our topic, and the title of your interview is called It's an Inside Job. So I can't wait to get into that. But could you just tell us a little bit more about this work that you're doing through the NINA program, and how did you get started in that? And, anything else that feels important that you might want the world to know about the work you're doing there?
Yeah, so thank you for that opportunity. So the NINA program, and NINA means girl, for those who was wondering. It's just girl in Spanish. We focus on young ladies who are in the state care, and I guess in the US you may call it foster care. So most of them, when they turn 18, because they came from different types of communities, they may have nowhere to go when they turn 18, or they may go back into situations which are unhealthy or not sufficient, or not really conducive to growth and development. And so what the NINA program does is we meet them just before they turn 18, so a year before, and we build a relationship with them. We provide a support system for them so that when they turn 18, they know that they are not alone. So some of the things that we do is, once they turn 18 and they leave, we look to do emotional support, find a place for them to live, find a job. But the most important thing, I think, coming out of the program is how much they take ownership of themselves, and how much they start believing in themselves, and believing that it starts from within. And we provide the tools for them through yoga, through meditation, through connecting with nature, through finding ways to own their bodies, because a lot of them feel like their bodies were snatched away from them. So we do dance therapy, we do art therapy, and we just make it a non-judgmental space where we can build a relationship, authentic relationships, and they feel safe.
That's just amazing. And you're giving them so many tools and resources then to take with them and to have that power and that strength already within. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. So our signature program right now is called Choices. And so every month we have a theme. So it might be choices and relationships, choices and self-love, choices and career, choices and sex and sexuality. So we go down the line because we know once you make a choice, you're creating something. So let's see if we can make the choice that would create something positive for our lives. And knowing that we can't control everything, but we can control the choice that we make in the moment.
Yeah, and even just bringing awareness to that fact that we have choice, you know, right? That we're not, I think just having that awareness can prevent us from feeling forced into situations.
Yeah, it takes your power back. You know, once you believe, well, I have a choice in any situation, even if I don't make a choice overtly, that is a choice, then it takes your power back. You feel like you have ownership of the situation yourself. And then you move differently.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, so that is so beautiful. Thank you for doing this. And is there a way that people can contribute to this project?
Sure. And we look for grants. We do fundraisers because it's a charity. And if you go on the website ninaleaders.com, there's an opportunity for you to contact us to contribute. Whether it's your time or finances, we appreciate all the contributions that we receive.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, we'll make sure to include that link below the interview as well, so people can find that easily. Awesome. Yeah, wonderful.
Jocelyn.
Yes. Well, could you tell us then, why do you say that everything is an inside job?
You know, that really came to me after feeling powerless. And I think that's probably why I want to share what I've learned with the young ladies. I realized that if I continue to look outside of myself for things, people, places, that I spend less time knowing who I am. And there are many times when I will not be able to find what I'm looking for outside of myself because it's already inside of me. And, you know, we keep looking for validation on the outside, but that could only really be made clear and evident when we accept who we are. And so what I realize is if I am to really live the best life that I could live, which means, and we were talking about this earlier, expecting the unexpected and knowing that I could go within to pull something out of me to deal with the matter at hand. Because if I go outside looking for peace, looking for calm, to be calm, looking for love, looking for validation, then I ignore all of the divine guidance and all of the intuition that we're all privy to, we're all built with. And so that's why I think everything starts within. I mean, nobody could heal for you. You have to heal for yourself. Nobody can eat your food for you. Nobody can exercise for you and make you strong. It's all you. And that is not to exclude other people. It's not to say you're not in community, but you have to recognize that it starts there and things start to manifest and morph around you that bring your tribe together with you. So that's really how I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. It's so true. And it's about taking responsibility for our own choices, right? Our own actions, and really knowing that we do have agency, we do have that choice.
I'm glad you mentioned that word responsibility, because what I've learned with accepting that everything starts from within is we start taking more responsibility for our lives, and we start holding ourselves accountable, and we start being more self-aware. So when something comes up and you know, okay, it's an inside job, I hold the responsibility, I'm accountable, you become more in tune with what triggers you, for example, because you're more self-aware, right? So something comes up and you recognize, oh my God, I'm being triggered. Or I don't feel at peace anymore. Something in my body is giving me a message. And I think once we become more self-aware, we are more in tune with what's going on around us, and we can respond in a way that is honoring of self.
Yes. Yeah, that self-awareness is so important. I mean, that can make 1,000% difference in how we react to things, and how we deal with the unexpected, which you mentioned there. And I think that's really important to talk about in these times that we're in now, that there is a lot of unexpected that's occurring. That's something we, like you said, we chatted about a little bit before we started recording, that we have to expect the unexpected. So what do you recommend for people as we're navigating these things where this, like something we really didn't plan on today is happening, or these bigger events that are occurring in the world that can be stressful? How can we work with that and stay in our center and stay in our, in a good space, even as we're going through things that maybe we didn't plan for?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think what it really starts with is knowing that there will be events and situations that come up that, one, are unexpected, and two, completely out of our control. And I think for me, what I've been really privileged to learn in a hard way is I cannot control everything that happens around me to make me feel comfortable, right? And so the starting point is really how you create habits and situations that would keep you at peace or inside of yourself on a daily basis. Because you can only do it if you practice. You can only do it through habit, especially if it's something new. So one of the most important things is when you wake up in the morning, you affirm yourself. You affirm what type of day that you want to have. And that sounds really simple and cliche, but it does make a difference if you affirm yourself. I am worthy. Something as simple as that. I am worthy. Oh, thank you for this day. Gratitude for this day. As the first thing that you say when you open your eyes. or think about. And that's how you practice that. Because a lot of times we go on autopilot where when we open our eyes, we think about what we have to do today and what we didn't do yesterday. And that, that gets us in a state of lack, because we are thinking about what we didn't do, what we cannot do, what we must do. And so when we program our minds in the morning to say thank you, or to say, oh, I can't even wait for the unexpected to happen today because I can handle it. And so that's one thing that I do. I call it the toolkit. And then some movement, do something, move your body, even if it's for 5 minutes, because that says to yourself, hey, I care about you. I want you to know, body, I want you to know that you are helping me through this journey, and I care about you. And it also kind of rewires your brain, because you're moving, and you can connect, and you can speak to your body, and your body can speak to you. So something might be feeling really good in your body, or something might be feeling not really good. And so if you make that a habit, you're telling your mind and your body, I am here, I'm grateful for you. And do some of the things that you like. Put on some music that would raise your vibration. Journal. Just take half an hour for yourself every day. And do something for you. And that starts programming yourself, your mind, that I am worthy, I am important, I take time for myself, and I can dig into my toolkit when something unexpected happens, because I can breathe. I can say, I know unexpected things were happening today, and I can handle it. It's really a practice. Really a practice. And one of the most important things for me was really not ignoring the feelings that come up. So before, I would ignore particularly feelings of anxiety or discomfort or distress. I would just bypass it and move to fixing, or ensuring that the situation finds a solution. And what I realized was happening is those feelings would creep back up. They would creep back up, and they would seep out in ways and times that are are not appropriate. And so I started recognizing and accepting and allowing those feelings to come to pass through me. And I learned about naming them. And so I started using a feelings wheel to name the feelings that I have. So once I name it, then I can say, oh, well, I feel sad, or I feel anxious, or I feel, and it's gonna pass. Take 5 minutes or even less than that, but stop running towards feeling better right away and the solution, and get curious about what I feel, because those feelings, they have messages in them. And I've been practicing that. And what I do as a ritual now, I've started doing this in January of 2023, is, and I'm very, very lucky to be living on an island with beautiful beaches and rivers and nature. So I watch the sunrise every Saturday morning by the ocean. And every Sunday morning, I would go into the woods for a hike and watch the sunrise, or depending how far I'm in the woods, I won't see the sun, but I always go towards a river. And I've realized that nature has so many lessons. I've been going to that same beach every Saturday once I'm here in the country, and I never see the same thing. I never see the same sunrise. I never see the same way the waves crash. And that says to me that change will come. Change will happen all the time. But that doesn't mean it's going to destroy you or it's always a negative thing. There's beauty in change. And that is something that I did not accept before. You know, I want things to be the same all the time to make me feel safe and in control. And going to see the sunrise every week taught me about there's nothing that will ever be the same every week. Nothing. And then the other thing that I learned by going inside, because I would be alone on the beach, is doing something hard. And hard for me was driving to that spot because it's a bit of a windy road, and you know, I used to feel a little scared driving there, up the hills on the windy roads, and that would stop me from going. I would say, no, I'm not gonna go there because it's too hard to drive. And so going inside and showing yourself that you can do hard things you think are hard, starts with those little things. So when those big events come up, those unexpected events, you have already shown yourself that, hey, I've done a hard thing last week, I've done a hard thing on Saturday, so I could do this now. And so it became a ritual of getting out of my bed early. Doing the hard thing is no longer hard anymore. It's just sometimes, it gets a little bit scary. And welcoming seeing change and knowing that if the universe and the creator made me and made this, then we're all the same. And I could do it too.
Yes, I love this. There's two pieces, especially of what you've said here, that I just love. The one is that, yes, everything is constantly changing. And as humans, we're so afraid of change. Right? We're so afraid that it's going to, ruin our lives, or it's going to make things harder, or we're going to have to do things differently. And it's interesting how, and it's a survival level thing for us, to want things to stay the same, but it's interesting how afraid we feel about change. And it's like a paradigm shift of realizing, wow, actually, every sunrise is different. Yeah. Every day that I wake up is different, and allowing yourself to embrace that.
Yeah.
Push it away, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what was interesting to me is because I've seen that everything changes. I realize that when we have tough times or challenging times, they're not gonna last. It's gonna change. And when we have good times, same, you have the balance. And so the good times, you max it out. And the not so good times, you pull the toolkit out, and you know for sure that the situation is going to change. And you have to be ready, because if you don't believe in change and you want things to stay the same, then what happens is there's a lack of acceptance of what is. And Byron Katie talks about, if you don't accept what is, you suffer. And that is what I've learned over these past few months. if I am not accepting of the fact that everything changes and, you know, it's not going to last, then I'll be stuck. I'll be stuck in wanting what was. I'll be stuck in saying it should be this way. And time is going. And life reflects to you what's in your mind and what you focus on. And so life will continue to reflect back to me, okay, this is your belief that, you know, things must be this way or things should be this way. And you remain stuck. So it's not easy. It's not easy. It's really going within and listening to that voice and doing the little things, that demonstrate to yourself that you have everything inside of you.
Yes. Yes. And it comes back to our choice again, right? Because we can choose to keep trying to keep things the same as they were in the past, and like, I know I can feel safe if it stays this way and try to hold on to that. Or we can choose to open up and let new things come in, even if it feels a little scary, but it's like, we know that's moving us in a forward direction.
Our choices are so important, and how we experience someone and some things, it goes back to our choice as well. And I think one of the things that I've learned in being still and really doing those things is we have a choice on how we experience everything. We have that choice because it could be raining and we could choose to moan about it all the time, or we could choose differently. And I think with situations and people, when we choose to remember that people act the way they feel about themselves, and how we experience that is how we feel about ourselves, then we get to a point of, okay, how can I go inside and determine why am I experiencing this and choosing this? So let me give you an example. There was a situation during this year where I could not understand how someone who was very close to me would make the choice to dishonor themselves through different actions. And I was like, completely, like, just as before, I would run past my feelings of disappointment or discomfort or anger. I would run past that and look to fix the situation by, oh, well, let me demonstrate what you should be doing, rather than one, accept what is. This is what is in front of me. Feel those feelings, because those feelings are giving me information, and choose to remember that people act out the way they feel about themselves, and my response is how I feel about me, and my experience of this situation is how I feel about me. And what I realized is I just wanted people, that person, to like me. I wanted that person to recognize that if you do this thing a particular way, then we'll be better friends, rather than accepting that, hey, we may not be friends in that way, and accepting the fact that I was people pleasing rather than anything else. And so going inside myself, being self-aware, I realized that. I realized, like, oh my God, I can make a choice here. I can make a choice to understand why I would accept behaviors just to please someone. And I can make a choice to accept that people act the way they feel about themselves, and just accept that.
Yeah, this is I haven't heard it said in that way before. And this is a quote I want to just highlight what you said here, that people act the way they feel about themselves, and then how we respond is how we feel about ourselves. That is so true and so important. And we don't realize that, normally as we're in these everyday interactions with others. And yeah, I'm going to just really take that one with me. That's so huge,
Yeah, that blew my mind, and that really changed the dynamic of how I started approaching that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Not from a blame and judgment point of view, right? From the point of view of, well, what is inside of me that would experience a situation where that person feels a certain way about themselves, right? So what is in me that feels that way about me that would accept it? Accept it meaning think that it is okay to want to change it, to want to fix it, to want to control it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, and I think that can just allow us to have so much more compassion for others, right?
Yeah.
And forgiveness,
yes.
And peace for ourselves, yes. Right?
Yes.
By understanding that.
Yeah. And I mean, we can make the choice whether that compassion, forgiveness, and empathy requires us to stay or not stay, because we can do all of that close to the person or far from the person. And that is being self-aware and courageous enough to make that choice.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, I want to go back to something else you said, which it was the second thing of the two that really stood out to me from what you were saying earlier. And it was about, doing what's hard, right? Really choosing, making the choice to do something that's hard, like driving on that road where you felt scared, but you knew that there was this beautiful experience waiting for you, at the end where you get to see the sunrise from a beautiful place, And so could you say just a little bit more about that, doing what's hard, and how does that help us to evolve, or help us to find our own power? Because it is, of course, it's easier to do what feels comfortable and familiar, and, do what we know has worked in the past. But we can grow so much when we do something that's hard, that's outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah. I think one of the most important things is asking ourselves, why is this hard for me? Or what makes this hard for me? And be radically honest with the response. And a lot of times for us, we believe that something is hard because somebody else tells us it's hard. And we believe that something is hard because we don't want to feel discomfort. We don't want to feel pain. We don't want to feel out of our depth. And that really goes back to your feeling of worthiness. And so in order to do hard things, you have to start small. After you radically answer honestly, why is this hard for me? You have to start doing small things. I mean, the action is really the path. You can't not act if you want to do hard things. So for me, I always use this example. Something hard was running. I thought that was hard, like running. And so I started walking and running for 1 minute. And I realized, but it's not that hard for 1 minute. And 2 minutes, it's not that hard. And so you have to now kind of program or prove to yourself that you can do these little hard things so that when the big things come, you have evidence then that you can do hard things. And when you realize a lot of the things that we believe are hard, it's really more in your head than anything else. It's really more the stories that you make up. Because for me is, well, one, I don't like to drive, and two, that road is so narrow and it's winding, but you see other people doing it. So why can't you do it? It's really the stories that you tell yourself. So I started saying, okay, I know the road is long and windy and narrow, but I will take my time on it. And I will really believe that I can do it. You have to start talking to yourself in a way that is affirming what you can do, affirmative. And that kind of takes your power back because there's so many things that we neglect or we choose not to do because of fear, because we believe we've made up a story in our head that it's hard. And my mantra is two things. Whatever it is, I can handle it and I can do hard things. And I keep telling myself that when I'm in a situation where I'm scared and when I don't know, and I feel the feelings, because just today I was telling a friend of mine, I feel some resistance in doing this. I have to talk to somebody, a hard conversation. And I said, I feel some resistance in doing this. And just that statement kind of gave me permission to go inside. And I was like, okay, why do I feel this resistance? And it's because of a story I'm telling myself that if I have this hard conversation, I may not be able to do it and that person will get upset. So I hope that answers your question, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there's so much value in trying things that we think are hard and then seeing, oh my gosh, I can actually do this, and that just helps our power and our confidence to
and ease up on yourself. Give yourself permission to feel. Give yourself permission to do it and feel down in the moment. I mean, because it's new. It's new. Give yourself permission to learn and to be curious, because you're doing something for the first time. You're not going to do it perfectly. Trust me, when I'm driving on those roads, there are cars behind me. Honking their horn.
Right.
Oh, I hate, you know, you don't know the half of it, you know. And I give myself permission to feel in the moment, to not give in to the stories then, and to not give in to the pressure of the honking horns and the gestures. You know, luckily when I go, it's easy because it's early in the morning, but it's when I'm coming back, you know, I started making jokes and saying, oh, how many cars are behind me? Let's see if I can get 10.
Right. Giving ourselves permission to do it in the way that we need to, in our own way, because it's hard, because it's something that's hard for us.
It's new. I mean, we told ourselves it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So to break down that story, we have to take action, we have to do it, and we have to practice. And for the first few times, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I would love to hear more about your newest book, which I think is behind you there. Now What? The Flipside. Could you tell us a bit about that? I'm so intrigued by the title.
Yeah. So, that title came about. I wrote 2 books before, and the first book was called What Did I Learn Today? Lessons on the Journey to Unconditional Love. And then the second book was Why Are You Here? And so I believe that, you know, I was self-aware enough to go through life without too many challenges, you know, and things would just run smoothly for me. I love myself. I understand why I'm here. I'm here for a purpose, to be a conduit from which the universe can do its work. You know, I've told myself all of those lovely things. And then life happened. My relationship started going south and sour. The pandemic hit. And so with the pandemic, my work was like zero, you know, for a while. And I'm like, but hey, now what? You know, I think I did what I was supposed to do. And so I kept saying, now what? Now what? You know, like, how do I navigate this unexpected moment? And so the flip side of that is all of the situations that I went through to get here are useful. All of those situations brought me to this moment where I can now pull and use those lessons to navigate me through this time, through relationships that didn't work out, through not having the same level of income and jobs. These are the times when I have to be self-aware, to make better choices, to go inside myself, because it's just life. Life happens, and all of the things that we've learned, we can now pull on it. I mean, you wouldn't use your toolkit to build something that's already there, would you? You may need it to tweak it. You may need it if it's busted and you need to rebuild it. That's when you need your tools. And so that's the genesis of this book, Now What? The Flipside. And you know, life has a way of really reflecting back to you where you are. And once we pay attention, we know it's not personal. We know it's just life saying to us, hey, listen, pay attention, and you'll be okay.
Wow. Thank you so much, Akosua. This has been so powerful, as always, to speak with you today. Yes.
It's always lovely to speak to you, Justin.
Yes, likewise. So I know that you have a wonderful free gift for us. And could you tell us just a little bit more about that? It's Understanding Self, a self-reflective tool.
Yes. It's a workbook, and it really is a guide towards building the pillars of self, which I say the pillars of self are your self-esteem, your self-value, and your self-worth. It's all about how you build up yourself. So it's a workbook with a number of questions where you build your self-awareness and strengthen those pillars of self, so that when you get into unexpected situations, when you show up in life, you recognize that you have what it takes inside of you, and you can tap into that. Because as we know, if your pillars are strong, then what's on top the pillars or around the pillars, they're safer.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, I hope everybody enjoys it and really put some thought into being as radically open and honest as possible when they answer the question.
Yes, beautiful. Yes, this radical honesty that you speak about is so important, right? To be radically honest with ourselves.
And yeah. I can't underestimate it, because I think for me, I have been looking at things and thinking, oh, that could change, or no, it's not really like that. Or maybe, from the time you start making justifications and rationales for what is in front of you, pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention. Because you cannot transcend or grow as a person if you're not honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. You can't. It's a waste of time.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Radical honesty with ourselves. So important. Yeah. Well, thank you again, Akosua. And I know everybody's going to find this to be really powerful. I recommend listen to it twice, everybody, because there's so much here, and there are so many really, really powerful messages for this deep inner work that we're called to do at this time, and I just love your words of wisdom around all of it, Akosua. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who is listening. And thanks, Justin, for giving us a platform to share these types of stories. And, whatever it is you're looking for outside of yourself, you already have it. You have the love, you have peace, you have the calm, you have the abundance, you have it all inside. That's where it starts.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. I hope you've received so much from this beautiful conversation. And I'll see you again soon on the next podcast episode. Much love, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful episode of the Sacred Planet podcast. Be sure to click like and subscribe to our channel so that you will receive future updates. You'll know when we go live and when we are publishing the new episodes. And also be sure to put a note in the comments. What did this episode mean to you? What did this speaker and this topic inspire and awaken in you? And how do you want to share that with the world in new ways going forward? I would love to hear in the comments. And while you're here, go ahead and click on another podcast episode and open your mind, open your heart to more beautiful wisdom from the podcast. Much love, everybody.